I think the reason I like hunting is because every shot is different, and usually you only have one opportunity, so you have to be precise and effective. In my experience, using a torre tape is what is giving me the confidence that the pellet will hit where I'm aiming, and also it gives me the speed to react on every different situation. The downside that I found with torre tapes is that usually this is the type of torre tapes that you see. People attach a tape to the turret, and that works. But if you have any variations, if you change the speed or the power, or if you change the pellet, now you have to redo your turret tape. That's why I came with this idea on developing these 3D print rings that will allow me to do different turret tapes that I can add and remove without having to redo the whole turret tapes again. To create the turret tapes, you will need painter tape. I usually use this thin version, but any version will work because you can always trim it with a knife. And also a fine Sharpie. This is so you can write the numbers. Sometimes the numbers are really close together, so I recommend a fine Sharpie, something that you can write really tiny numbers on the tape. Even when I'm using my 3D print rings, I will use the painter tape because I can always remove it and do another one. You will also need to know the speed of your rifle. You need the chronograph. The other thing that you will need is a ballistic calculator. You really don't need to use a ballistic calculator if you have a space where you can shoot, because you can, for example, range a target at 10 yards, zero the rifle at 10 yards, mark 10 yards, move it back to 15, do the same, mark where the new zero is. Basically, you will be doing multiple zeros and multiple ranges and just adding the distance. And effectively what you have done is mark where the zero will be at different ranges. But it's a tedious process. I think you will waste a lot of ammo doing that, and not everyone can do it because you may not have the 100-yard, like for example, to do it. At home here I only have 40 yards, which is pretty good distance, but with a ballistic calculator you can generate infinite distance. I will always double check what the ballistic calculator is computing, because you may have errors with the pellet, the ballistic coefficient. But yeah, I use a ballistic calculator. I use a Strelok Pro, and here I'm not going to show on detail how I set up Strelok, but you can use any ballistic calculator. And the other thing that you will need to know is the size of the kill zone of the target that you are hunting. Remember, this is a turret tape that I'm doing for iguanas, and the kill zone is really small. I would say probably it's smaller than a pigeon, because it's the distance between the eye and the end of the head, so you have like probably half an inch up and down. So that is really important, because this is how we will compute the zero. Alright, the first thing I will do is I will put the turret tape around my rings. In my scenario, I'm adding this to the ring, but if you don't have the ring, you can put it just on the turret. We will proceed and measure the speed at which this projectile is going. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's 10 shots. Let's check this out. So hopefully you can see there. The average speed is 911. Now that we know the speed, we need to compute the zero. So this is something that I do. I know a lot of people say, oh, I zero at 20 yards or I zero at 35 yards, and they already have a predefined distance. So for me, it's not like that. My scope, I can do zero stopping on the turret. So what is the goal? The goal for me is to find the most effective zero given the speed that I have. If I predefine a distance, let's say I would like to zero at 20 yards, then it's possible that I have to hold under at some distances. What I would really like is to find a zero that I will always have holdovers. So why is that? If I always have holdovers, I can do my zero stop on my turret and I never have to go under zero. And that's the reason I have a zero stop. If I have to hold under, hold over, I feel that that's not as efficient. That's the way I do. So when I compute the zero, if my absolute zero is at 35 yards, for example, and I have the size of the kill zone of my target is 1 inch. So what I will do is I move my zero forward so I can have a drop less than half an inch. So if my kill zone is an inch, I will move my zero and that can give me a distance around 30 yards. So what I gain with this is that now I have extended my zero from 30, this is just an example, we will see when we do exactly, but I'm just explaining. So my zero range is now a range. My zero is not just 1 point, which is an absolute value, so everything is whole over from that distance. But I also, with this, I gain a range like around, it can be around 10, 15, 20 yards. So which I know like from 30 to 50, I don't have to touch my turret. So it would be on my zero, because I know that pellet will move up and down, but I'm still on the kill zone. That is another way that I use the turret, which is to be efficient. If I know I'm in and now I call that the kill zone. So if the target is between now 30, 45 yards, I don't have to touch my turret, just go quick and get the shot. So that's why it's important. So that is in a nutshell how I do. So my zero is computed, it depends on the speed. Usually the ballistic calculator will give you that. So a ballistic calculator will give you what is the efficient zero, and you have a range, your near zero and your far zero. So you know anything in between, you don't have to touch the turret. Okay, all right, let's do that. Let's do that now. So here in Strelog, I already added the 911. So with that into place, we're coming to this other screen. You see MRD calculator, and here is where I was mentioning you that you need to know the kill zone of the target. I put 0.5, and when I compute, it's giving me that the zero should be 45. We had a problem now because at home I don't have 45. So I will set my zero at 35 yards, which is what I have here. I think I have 38. I will put it at 30. I will put my zero here would be 35. It would be the maximum that I can. But if I could, I will just follow Strelog. So Strelog is recommending the zero 45 yards. The problem is I don't have that distance here at home, so I will do a zero at 35 instead of 45, and I hope my numbers are pretty close. So yes, unfortunately I couldn't do the method that I was explaining at the beginning, but I would try to go pretty close. So I would go 35, which is the distance I have at home, and see what is the table. So as soon as I enter my zero distance is 35, I can go to the table and then I can see all the different at the different distance. So at 10 yards, so I have to do 22.1 clicks up. So it's pretty close. It's a lot of clicks. So at 15 yards, 7.1. Look at the big difference between. So what the difference? So 5 yards at close range, you go from 22 to 7 click. This is why you need to do. This is why you need to know your ballistic distance. This is why torre tape or having this sticker around is really helpful, because look at the big jump between 10 and 15. So on 20 yards, it's 1.3 clicks. So that means it's 1 click, and so on. So you see 25, then you go into the hole under, but the hole under is 0.6. That's pretty good. So it means I don't have to click anything. I will remain there. At 30 yards, it's also 1 click under. So that's why I won't be able to do that click, because my zero stop will stop at 35 yards. So if it's at 30, I know I will be holding under, and so that's why sometimes you see me aiming a little bit low, because I'm holding a little bit under, because given that distance, I know at 30 yards I have to. Then everything else is a up click. So using this table is how I'm gonna fill the torre tape. Let's go ahead and do that. Well, and this is the torre tape. I just follow the numbers on Strelog, and then I was adding my clicks on this tape. All right, let's jump into the rifle, and then let's do some testing to see if these distances are good. So I will be testing from 35 yards. I will do a test at 30, 20, 15, and 10, just to see those big clicks, if this is right or not. I always test. If we are good in this range from 10 to 35, I would trust the rest of the torre tape. All right, let's do some shooting now. All right, this is 35 yards. I think it's hitting a little bit high. So with these 3 shots, I will lower like 2-3 clicks. Let's try again. Now 0 in a 35 yard. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. This is 35 yards. Okay, let's move the target now at 20 yards. So 15 yards is hitting a little bit low. Let me just hit one more click. Maybe all right, let's do the 10 yards, but it's a little bit low, but it's almost there, right? Let's do the 10 yard. The 10 yard would be really, really close. OMG, it's really close, my scope. and not get there. Let me see here. Oh yes, yes, the elevation is good. Do another one. Same hole. Well guys, that's the video. Hopefully you learned something today. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Right now I just wanted to share how I do my turret tapes. Just wanted to say also that I just created my online store where you can find some shirts, so check it out. The link is in the description below. If you really like any design, I will appreciate. As always, be safe and see you on the next. Bye.